Since the beginning of this year, China has announced multiple rounds of tightened restrictions on rare earth exports, making it clear that these critical materials must not be used for any military purposes. Despite increasingly strict regulations, some countries have still tried to bypass China's controls by disguising trade routes. One Indian company, for instance, imported around 120 tons of rare earth from China under the pretext of meeting civilian industrial needs. However, by June 2025, China discovered that this batch had been diverted through third-party channels to Western military projects, and that part of it had even entered India's domestic military drone supply chain. After China exposed the incident, India not only failed to give a direct response, but instead publicly accused China of weaponizing rare earths. You might be wondering, how did China manage to track the exact flow of these materials? And who, in the end, did India sell them to? If you like our video content, please click to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive all our latest video content. Now, let's get into today's topic. Currently, about 90% of the world's rare earth refining and separation capacity is concentrated in China, especially for medium and heavy rare earths, which China almost completely controls. But over the past year, Beijing has significantly tightened its export oversight. In April 2024, China placed 7 types of medium and heavy rare earths, including samarium and gadolinium, under export license management. The controls now cover oxides, alloys, and even magnetic materials. Then, in October, Beijing added 5 more elements, such as holmium and europium, expanding the restricted list to 12 types. China also imposed a new rule. Any foreign-made product that contains Chinese rare earths or uses Chinese technology, if the Chinese component account for more than 0.1%, must now apply for a Chinese export license before being re-exported. As of 2025, more than 10,000 overseas companies have submitted import license applications for Chinese rare earths, but fewer than 1,500 have been approved. In September 2025 alone, 141 German companies applied, yet only 19 received approval, a success rate of just 13%. Among the countries facing stricter scrutiny, the United States stands out. For example, Dexter Magnetic Technologies submitted 180 license applications since April, but received approval for only 5. Meanwhile, nations with relatively friendly relations with China, such as Serbia, have seen their compliant orders largely unaffected, as Beijing previously stated it would relax reviews for friendly nations. It's worth noting that India's Comstar was one of the companies that successfully obtained approval to import 120 tons of rare earth from China, after submitting a pledge that the materials would be used solely for civilian purposes. Now, however, their actions have seriously angered China. Comstar is one of India's largest automotive components manufacturers, headquartered in Gurgaon. In the automotive sector, it is an important supplier to companies such as Ford and Stellantis, providing core components like drivetrains and electrodrive systems. In recent years, Comstar has also been expanding its footprint in the rail sector. In 2025, the company acquired Escort's Kubota's railway equipment division, officially entering the rail system supply chain and beginning to supply Indian railways and major private rail equipment manufacturers with key components including brakes, couplers, and suspension systems. Production of these kinds of products is highly dependent on rare earths. The problem is that India's capacity for rare earth refining is severely limited. The highest purity it can currently achieve is only about 82%, well below the standards required for high-end manufacturing, and its costs are 3 to 4 times higher than China's. As a result, Comstar's reliance on China for high-purity rare earths is nearly total. From the second half of 2024, in order to smoothly import rare earths from China, Comstar submitted 30 end-use undertakings to Chinese authorities, explicitly promising that the materials would be used exclusively for producing electric vehicle motor components within India. Based on the declarations, this was not visibly inconsistent with the company's business profile. Ultimately, they succeeded in purchasing a total of 120 tons of rare earths from China. But Chinese investigators later found that the actual shipping route of this batch was seriously inconsistent with the declarations. When the cargo reached the port of Mumbai, it was not delivered to the Sona Comstar production address declared in the paperwork. Instead, it was quickly transshipped onto another vessel bound for Southeast Asian waters. There, after multiple transfers and repackaging, the rare earths were disguised as processed in India products, and materials originally labeled Made in China were relabeled as Made in India. By early 2025, the disguised rare earths had been split up and sent along two illicit channels. One portion was sent directly to Indian defense firms for use in manufacturing components for core weapon systems, such as the Heron drone and the Dauntless missile. The other portion was repackaged in places like Malaysia and Vietnam, marketed as originating from third-party locations, marked up by 60%, and resold to U.S. defense contractors and French military laboratories. By June 2025, China had officially uncovered the violation, but by that time, nearly all of the rare earths had already been sold. Beijing immediately halted all rare earth exports to the Indian companies involved and placed them on the rare earth trade blacklist. But you might wonder, since those materials had already entered India and even gone through multiple layers of origin washing across different countries, how did China manage to trace where they ultimately went and who bought them? In fact, China's ability to precisely identify Sona Comstar's violations stemmed from an upgraded round of export control measures that officially took effect in April 2025. At that time, China tightened restrictions on 7 types of medium and heavy rare earths, including samarium, gadolinium, and terbium. Beyond the existing approval procedures, a new mandatory rule was added. Importers must submit proof of end use every 3 months. This new rule required all importing companies to regularly provide documented evidence of how the rare earths were actually used, including production orders, shipment records, and end customer information. All of these documents had to match exactly with the details stated in the original end-use commitment letter. Although Sona Comstar had obtained export approval for the 120 tons of rare earths by falsifying a civilian use declaration, the company could not produce any real evidence of civilian production. When the first 3-month verification period arrived, their entire civilian use cover story began to fall apart, as they were unable to submit corresponding usage records. To avoid inevitable exposure, Sona Comstar was forced to speed up its planned resale process. What was originally scheduled to be sold in batches over 6 months was instead liquidated in less than 2. During the subsequent review, Beijing found major inconsistencies in the first set of end-use documents submitted by the company. The so-called civilian electric vehicle orders lacked corresponding purchase contracts with automakers, and the home appliance motor shipment records did not match the procurement data of downstream appliance brands at all. Following these discrepancies, China used its rare earth logistics tracking system to verify that nearly 40 tons of rare earths had never entered any civilian manufacturing process within India. Instead, they had been rerouted through warehouses in Malaysia and Vietnam and ultimately delivered to military contractors in the United States and France. In fact, China's ability to accurately identify and trace the illegal flow of rare earths is supported by a comprehensive regulatory system that had been in place long before the incident. As early as June 2024, China announced a high-level plan to establish a rare earth product information tracking system with a clear objective: to use technology to cover every stage of the rare earth supply chain, from mining and refining to processing and export, and achieve full lifecycle traceability through a one-item, one-code management model. The core idea of this system is to manage the entire rare earth industry chain through data-driven precision control, tackling long-standing issues such as smuggling, illegal mining, false declarations, and tax evasion. By standardizing the circulation path of rare earths at the source, the system ensures that every step of the process leaves a traceable record, making responsibilities fully trackable. After nearly a year of technical development, the Rare Earth Information Tracking System was officially launched and put into operation in the first half of 2025. The system has two core capabilities, the first being full-chain traceability. Simply put, it is equivalent to giving rare earths their own GPS. The system uses a one-chip, one-code identification mechanism, enabling full life-cycle tracking of rare earth from mining to end use, effectively giving each batch of material a unique identity tag. In major rare earth production regions, such as Jiangxi and Inner Mongolia, the raw material is embedded with a passive RFID electronic tag as soon as it is extracted from the ore vein. The tag's contents are written using the state encryption-grade SM4 algorithm, recording original information such as the geographic coordinates of the production site, mining time, and/or grade. Once written, the data cannot be altered. When the rare earths enter the refining and processing stages, the system automatically updates the record through data collected from read-write devices installed along production lines, adding parameters such as processing details and quality inspection results. During logistics and transportation, vehicle-mounted readers work together with GPS modules to continuously upload the transport route in real time and dynamically monitor whether the cargo deviates in unauthorized areas. This kind of end-to-end traceability, from the source to the final destination, has made transit disguise almost meaningless. Take the 120 tons of rare earths imported by Comstar as an example. Even if the shipment was transferred at the port of Mumbai, repackaged on a Southeast Asian vessel, and then exported to the United States under the label of Indian processed goods, the system could still reconstruct the entire route through the dynamic data embedded in the tag records. By August 2025, this system had already covered 98% of China's key rare earth enterprises, effectively closing the loophole that once existed in post-export supervision. The other core capability, which is even more precise than physical tracking, is isotope fingerprint tracing. This acts as the identity DNA of rare earths. Elements such as dysprosium and terbium contain multiple stable isotopes, and the geological environments of different mining areas determine unique isotope ratios that cannot be replicated, much like human fingerprints. Chinese scientists have confirmed that by analyzing the isotopic distribution patterns of rare earth elements, it is possible to accurately match them to their original mining sources. So even when certain batches of rare earths are resold, China can still verify their origin by retrieving and testing samples. With these two core technologies, China's rare earth monitoring system can now see the path and recognize the identity, which explains why Comstar's cross-border disguise scheme was ultimately exposed. It is worth noting that at the BRICS summit held in July this year, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi placed the issue of critical mineral supply chains at the center of his agenda. In his speech, Modi called for stronger international cooperation in key minerals and high-tech industries, emphasizing that no country should use these resources as a weapon. Although he did not name China directly, given Beijing's repeated rounds of rare earth export controls in recent months, the implication was clear. However, India must face a simple fact: whether China's rare earths are exported, to whom, and in what manner. All of these decisions fall entirely within China's sovereign rights, and no other country has any standing to interfere. To not miss out on our future projects and news updates, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We will continue to provide you with more exciting and interesting content.